woman on the table wasn't supposed to be dead. I was. I didn't understand that yet when I walked into the viewing room. I only knew that the lights were already on when I arrived. That shouldn't have been possible. Halden Mortuary closed to the public at 6. After 6, the corridor's lights dimmed automatically and the viewing room stays dark, unless a staff member keeps them open. Even staff didn't like staying late. The place changed after hours. The air thickened. Sounds traveled wrong. I had come late because I knew the caretaker. Because I knew the woman on the table. Because I couldn't make myself come earlier. I stood in the corridor for a long moment before moving, my hand still on the strap of my bag like I might turn around if I loosened my grip. Then I saw light spilling from beneath the door at the far end, and a shadow moving inside. I stopped. Someone was already in the room. He stood beside the table, not touching her, not leaning, hands folded behind his back, posture straight, patient, like someone waiting for instructions that hadn't arrived yet. For half a second, my brain tried to place him. Staff, family, police, someone official, someone who belonged. Then I noticed his chest. It wasn't moving. I waited. 1 beat. 2. Nothing. A cold prickle ran up my arms and settled behind my ears. I took an involuntary step back, my heel brushing the carpet. The sound echoed more than it should have. He turned his head at it. Not fully, just enough for one eye to catch the light. It was black, not shadowed, not dark brown. Black, flat, complete, like there was no surface there to reflect anything back. My breath caught halfway in. Jesus, I started, then stopped myself. What's wrong with your eyes? He didn't blink, didn't react at all. You're late, he said. His voice was calm, ordinary, the kind of voice that made the wrongness harder to process, not easier. No echo, no distortion, no threat. I swallowed. I didn't know anyone else was coming. He turned back toward the table. She isn't supposed to be here, he said. The sentence didn't land properly, not emotionally, logically. That's Mara, I said. She died yesterday. Yes, he replied. That's the issue. I stared at him now, openly. Up close, it was worse. Both eyes were black, not glossy, not wet. They didn't track my movement when I shifted. They stayed fixed, like glass set into a face that had learned how to wear skin. You're not staff, I said. No. You're not family. No. I took another step back, my shoulder brushing the door frame. You need to leave, I said. Now. He finally looked at me fully. I felt it then. A weight. Not pressure. Attention, like standing too close to heavy machinery you don't quite understand. You knew her, he said. It wasn't a question. Yes, I said automatically, then caught myself. That doesn't matter. It does, he replied. I shook my head, trying to reset the moment, trying to force the world back into something manageable. Who are you? I asked. He didn't answer. Instead, he gestured slightly toward the empty space beside the table. Not dramatic, not deliberate, just enough that I noticed it. There was supposed to be someone else here, he said. My mouth went dry. Who? I was called for you, he said. The words hit harder than the eyes had. That's not funny, I said. If this is some kind of... I don't joke, he replied. I laughed once, sharp, hollow, a sound with no humor in it. You're not even breathing. That did it. For the first time, something changed. Not in his face, in the silence. Because once I said it out loud, there was no ignoring it anymore. No breath, no movement, no sign of effort. I don't make the lists, he said quietly. I just follow them. She survived the accident, he continued, nodding toward Mara without looking at her. My heart stuttered. What accident? The one you were in, he said. She wasn't scheduled. You were. The room felt wrong then. Not smaller, not darker, just misaligned, like I was standing half a step out of place and my body hadn't caught up yet. "You're wrong," I said. "I went home. I'm standing right here." "You avoided the junction," he said. "You took the long way." The air felt colder against my skin. "She didn't." The urge to run hit hard and sudden, pure animal panic, the kind that bypasses reason. "This is a mistake," I said. "If something went wrong, then fix it." His head tilted slightly. "That's why I'm here," he said. I reached for the door. "You can leave," he added. "You already have." My hand was shaking now. I didn't bother hiding it. Behind me, his voice came once more. "You were always meant to be on the table," he said. She was not. I pulled the door open and stepped into the corridor. The lights in the viewing room stayed on behind me. I didn't turn around. I didn't need to, because the fear wasn't behind me anymore. It had followed. I didn't go straight home. I walked until my legs started to shake, then sat on the low concrete wall outside the mortuary car park and waited for my breathing to slow down. Cars passed on the main road beyond the trees, their headlights sweeping across the iron gates like nothing inside them mattered. I kept telling myself the same thing: shock, grief, an exhausted brain filling in gaps. People see things when they're overwhelmed. That's not new. There were explanations for black eyes, for a stranger in the room, for the wrong words landing at the wrong time. There were explanations for everything, except the part about the junction. I hadn't told anyone I'd taken the long way home. I drove anyway. I didn't think about where I was going until I realized my hands were turning the wheel on their own, guiding the car back toward the industrial estate where the accident had happened the night before. I told myself I was just proving something, retracing steps, closing a loop. The junction looked ordinary in daylight. Fresh tire marks still visible on the tarmac. A broken reflector lying in the grass. No police tape. No flowers yet. I parked and sat there for a long time, staring at the empty road. Nothing happened. I laughed then, out loud. The sound felt wrong in my mouth, but it helped. "See?" I said to the empty car. "Nothing." I drove home. That night, I dreamed of the table. Not Mara on it. Me. Not injured. Not bloody. Just still. I woke up gasping, heart hammering, sheets twisted around my legs. My chest hurt like I'd been holding my breath too long. I checked the time. 3:12 a.m. For a second, I lay there listening. Then I realized the room was quiet in the wrong way. No hum from the radiator, no distant traffic, no sound of my own breathing. I sat up so fast the room tilted. I was breathing. The silence hadn't come from me. It was coming from somewhere else. He was standing in the corner of the bedroom, exactly where the wardrobe door didn't quite close all the way. Same coat, same posture, hands folded behind his back, not looking at me, looking at the bed. "What are you doing here?" I whispered. "You left," he said. That was allowed. My voice came out thin. "You can't be here." "I'm not," he replied. I noticed then that the air around him looked wrong, not distorted, just empty, like heat without warmth. "You said you were here to fix a mistake," I said. "Then fix it." He turned his head, both eyes black again, unblinking. "You are trying to change the order," he said. "I'm trying to live." "That is the same thing," he replied. I swung my legs off the bed, keeping my eyes on him, and stood. "I won't go back there," I said. "I won't lie on that table." He watched me in silence. "You already have," he said. I ran, out of the flat, down the stairs, into the street. I didn't lock the door. I didn't even close it properly. I slept on a friend's sofa that night without telling them why I showed up shaking and pale at 4 in the morning. The next day, I booked a flight. Different city. Different country, if I could manage it. Somewhere with no junctions I recognized. Somewhere with no tables. The confirmation email arrived instantly. I exhaled for the first time all day. That was when my phone rang. Unknown number. I didn't answer. A voicemail appeared seconds later. No sound, just breathing. One slow inhale, one slow exhale. Not mine. I canceled the flight. I didn't know why. My finger moved before my thoughts did. By the afternoon, I was back at Halden Mortuary. I told myself I was going to say goodbye properly. To Mara. To the version of myself that still believed this was coincidence. The caretaker let me in without questions. "She's already laid out," he said. "Viewing room's open." My stomach tightened. The lights were on. He was there again, standing beside the table, waiting. He turned when he heard me. "You're early," he said. I didn't respond. I walked past him and stopped at the foot of the table. Mara looked the same as before, peaceful, finished. "You said this was a correction," I said quietly. "So correct it." He watched me with those empty eyes. "I am," he replied. I felt the room settle around us, like something aligning into place. "You can still walk away," he added. "Most people do." "And what happens then?" He glanced at the table. "They come back." My legs felt weak. I reached out and gripped the edge of the table to steady myself. The metal was cold. Too cold. "That's not fair," I said. He tilted his head slightly. "Fairness isn't on the list," he replied. I closed my eyes, and for the first time since this began, I understood what the mistake had been. Not the accident, not the junction, but the delay. I don't remember sitting down. One moment I was standing at the foot of the table, fingers numb against the cold metal edge, and the next I was on the chair beside it, elbows resting on my knees like I'd been there for hours. The man hadn't moved. He stood in the same place beside Mara's body, facing the table, waiting. "You said most people walk away," I said. "Yes," he replied. "And they come back?" "Yes." I swallowed. My mouth tasted like metal. "What if I don't?" He didn't answer immediately. For the first time since I'd met him, I noticed something else wrong. His shadow. It didn't touch the floor beneath him. It started a few inches away, detached, like it belonged to someone standing just behind where he was. "You already did," he said. The room felt warmer, not comfortable, just closer. The air thickened, pressing lightly against my chest. I became acutely aware of my heartbeat. Each one felt loud, inefficient, like it was working harder than it needed to. I stood again, slowly this time. "I'm not sick," I said. "I haven't been hurt. You said yourself, I avoided the crash." "Yes. So why now?" He finally turned fully toward me. Up close, the blackness in his eyes wasn't empty. It was deep, like looking into a room with the lights off and knowing something solid was inside it. "Because the sequence matters," he said. I laughed weakly. "You said you don't make the lists." "I don't," he replied, "but I recognize errors." The word settled heavily between us. Error. Mara's face behind the glass suddenly felt very far away. "You're saying she took my place," I said. "No," he corrected. "You delayed yours." I shook my head. "Then undo it. Put her back where she belongs." "She is where she belongs," he said. "And me?" He looked at the table. My chest tightened. The idea came to me fully formed then. Clear, simple, horrifying. "If I leave," I said slowly, "you'll just wait." "Yes." "And if I run again, you'll return. And if I hurt myself, if I change things enough." He interrupted me gently. "You are already dying," he said. The words weren't dramatic. They weren't cruel. They were observational. I became aware of the pressure in my chest again. Heavier now. My breaths felt shallower, like the air had thinned without warning. "I feel fine," I lied. "You feel delayed," he said. I stepped closer to the table. Mara's hands were folded neatly, just as they'd been before. Her expression hadn't changed, still calm, still finished. I noticed something then. A second set of linens folded neatly on the lower shelf beneath the table, fresh, unused. My name tag lay on top of them. I don't remember taking it off. My legs gave out. I sat. The room didn't rush. It didn't spin. Nothing dramatic happened, just a quiet certainty settling into place. "This isn't how it was supposed to end," I said. He tilted his head. "It isn't the end," he replied. "It's the correction." My vision blurred at the edges. I focused on his coat, the crease along the sleeve, the absence of movement in his chest. "How long?" I asked. He checked nothing, consulted no watch. "Moments," he said. "You have already used most of them." I wanted to argue, to scream, to bargain, but there was nothing to bargain with, only time I'd already spent. I lay back. The table was colder than I expected. As my head settled into place, I realized something else. He still hadn't touched me. He never needed to. My breathing slowed on its own. The pressure eased. For a brief, strange second, I felt relief. "I should have been here yesterday," I said. "Yes," he replied. The lights above me seemed very bright. Then they dimmed. Not suddenly, not all at once, just enough. The last thing I saw before my eyes closed was Mara's face beside mine in the glass. She looked exactly as she always had, at peace. When the caretaker arrived the next morning, he paused at the doorway. He frowned at the table, checked his clipboard, then shrugged. "Strange," he muttered. "Thought there was only one today." By the time he looked again, the man in the dark coat was gone. The lights were off, the room was quiet, and everything was finally in the right place.